All right, guys. So Rhys Hoskins goes on the injured list yesterday for the Guardians. Jo Adell is banged up, wasn't in the lineup. Chase DeLauder's banged up, wasn't in the lineup yesterday. We hope those guys are back. Obviously, those two neither have gone on the injured list at this point. We don't know what their status is. But, I mean, Hoskins, whatever, he hasn't been great. DeLauder and Adell, I mean, even with Hoskins, those are three of their best power hitters.
Right.
They don't have much power. So is this the death knell, Zach? Or do you think, all right, if DeLauder and Adell are fine, that they've still got a shot?
Yeah, I mean, no, if Adell misses time, that's bad. I would say this, like maybe one way they can sort of snap out of it is just to hit some balls over the fence. You can still, it's a lot easier to have 6 guys in a row hit grounders if finally someone hits one out. They're leaving too many guys on base. But I mean, for Adell to have the night he had Monday and then not be available Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then DeLauder's been pretty good.
Yeah.
And you noticed certainly last night the decisions they had to make or couldn't make in terms of pinch hitting because he wasn't available. It just made a bad offense worse.
Yeah. You know what? I don't want to be too critical, but when you start talking about your power hitters, they got 13 home runs.
Right.
Bro, we close. We close to September.
Pretty
dog.
direct way to say it.
Like, you know what I'm saying? 13. Like, that's your power? Like, and think about it. He's a young player. I like him. I like his upside. But I think DeLauder had like 5 home runs in the first week or something.
He did.
So he had 8 more home runs like the rest of the season. So it just goes to show you that when you're counting on some of these young guys, man, it's tough to count on young dudes, right? I like his progression. I like what he's doing, but you can't have nobody in your lineup or your lineup is consistent of like a couple of guys. And Rhys Hoskins, hey, look, he has 13 home runs. I'm not going to look at the batting average, but he is giving you some power numbers. I asked this to Jay, and maybe this is an organizational type thing, but when you got guys that are not getting consistent at-bats, I don't understand how you can think that those power numbers are going to increase when you're every other day. There's a different lineup. It's a different group of dudes moving in and out. Like
I like the consistency of a lineup. Sometimes it's not possible because you just may not have good enough players. I understand, there are times where you have to have platoons. And I don't want to kill Stephen Vogt. I think overall he's done a good job as Guardians manager with, let's face it, limited resources, especially on the offensive side. But I think I know there's influence from the analytics department when it comes to lineup making. That's just part of baseball. And sometimes, and I also understand having some guys in different spots of the lineup, lefty versus righty. It's just, some guy, it makes sense. But there's been zero consistency with this lineup all year. I think they've moved around guys too much. Again, you're not going to have the same lineup every single day. That's just, nobody does that. So I'm not going to criticize the Guardians for it. But I think there's been too much of that. Now, again, some of it is because they just don't have enough good players in their lineup. We've seen Rocchio, who had been their most consistent player through, June or early July. He's been a disaster for a month. He's completely cratered. And now you look at his overall numbers for the season, and you're like, he's the same. Like, now he's well below average in the OPS. 10 home runs. All right. Like, the Guardians aren't going to I don't think anybody's going to hit 20 home runs for them. That's not a lot of home runs,
bro.
Guys.
You can't. When you're not a regular contender if you can't hit 20 home runs.
That's right. You can't make that up. Like that is like
even Jose. Usually, at least you got Jose. You had Josh Naylor. How many home runs does Jose have? How many does Jose and Adell have? I think Adell's got like 17 or 18, but obviously most of them were for the Angels.
Jose's
10. Got 10 home runs. I'm not killing him. He got hurt. What are you going to do? But
that like you said, you're depending on stringing together 6 singles and moving runners. Like,
I mean, Adell's done a good job with the Guardians, but how many home runs did he hit with the Angels? Do we know?
He had 19 total, so he had 16 with the Angels.
Yeah, so he'll get to 20, but that most of them were for the Angels.
As long as he gets healthy.
We didn't see him 20. We got 3.
That's it. I mean, who's second? What does DeLauder have? 13. Hoskins has 13.
Do we have a lineup for today?
I can go look.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'll take a look, but I think DeLauder and Hoskins are tied for second on the team with 13 homers, right?
Who's leading home runs in American League? Who leads in home runs?
Is it Ben Rice still?
It's either Rice, Yordan Alvarez.
They
maybe?
have not set out a lineup yet. Let me
Yeah.
find those stats for you guys.
All right.
Yeah. See who's leading the American League in home runs.
Yeah, like
I think Kyle Schwarber's leading the majors.
like I just want
I'm
to
not
see.
sure who's leading the American League. Ben Rice had been in a big slump, although he hit 2 home runs the last 3 days.
For home runs,
Yeah.
Alvarez is leading with 36 in the American League.
Yeah.
What's
So
the top
Alvarez-
5?
You got Alvarez, Caminero,
And how many-
Rice,
and how many
Alonso, and Murakami.
Murakami. Yeah.
Murakami.
And what's
Give the numbers there,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
how many they have.
36, 35, 34, 29, and 29.
Yeah. There's only
Murakami
3
missed
guys
a
with-
month. Murakami missed a month and still has
He
29
did.
homers.
Yeah.
There's only 3 guys with 30 plus.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
and in the National League, who's got more than 30? I know Pete Crow Armstrong does. I know Schwarber does. I know Otani does.
All top 5 in the National League are more than 30.
It's those 3 guys I mentioned, right?
Yes.
Who else?
Oh, man, we got a lot. So it starts with James Wood,
Oh,
Otani, Armstrong, Rice, Goodman. This is all MLB. Hold on.
Goodman's a catcher for the Rockies. He's hurt now. The first guy you mentioned is hurt too. Who did he say? Who? I can't remember who he said first.
Wood?
Yeah, James Wood's hurt right now too.
Yeah, you can't. 13 is
Yeah.
like
30 times they've scored 1 run or fewer. 30 times.
Yeah.
That's way too much.
It's
just not
just crazy.
So
Pete-
if you go to the National League, top
Yeah.
50 home run hitters,
yeah.
the last is Freddie Freeman, and he has 15. That's the top 50
He's
home run.
50th, and that's more than anybody on the Guardians. And that's not a lot. Freddie Freeman's not having a great season.
50 guys
Have at least 15
have at least 15
in the national, and only in the National League.
and that's the National League.
How many guys
That's
in the majors,
crazy.
Anthony, have at least 20 home runs?
Oh, that's crazy.
It's probably, it's probably over 50.
And for
Oh,
the
it certainly
Guardians,
is.
we're
20's not a high
we
number.
7 away from getting to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's-
Adell will get there, but he didn't do it.
with
That
5
is-
weeks left.
Yeah, right.
Like that's
De La Cruz is at 43 with 20 home runs, and then Yandy Diaz is at 54 with 19. So you've got about 43 guys.
No, 53 guys.
53 guys.
53 guys, yeah.
53 guys
hitting
with
20 or
20,
more.
and there'll probably be 70, 75 who hit 20 home runs.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's
And
ties
only
in
Joe
here, too.
Adell will be on the Guardians, and he will have hit most of them for the Angels.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's where we're at. By the way, I'll do just a shout out to my guy Pete Crow Armstrong, who will become the first player this century to go 30-30 with a Gold Glove.
It's pretty impressive.
In back-to-back seasons. The last player to go 30-30 in consecutive seasons and win a Gold Glove was Barry Bonds.
It's pretty good.
He probably did it a couple times.
Oh, yeah. He probably maybe did it 6 years in a row. Although there were some years they didn't pitch to him, so he had a hard time. There are years where he has like 150 walks because he get intentionally. He used to get intentionally walk with the bases loaded.
I'm here to tell you,
Yeah.
I've never seen nothing like that in my life. Like
that stretch of time with the Giants, the way they pitched to him was unlike anything I've seen. Otani, Judge, nothing.
He'd
nothing
get
like
one. He'd get one pitch, and he hit it out the
Yeah.
park. Like think about it.
Yeah.
I'm only showing you one pitch.
Yeah.
And it's my best pitch, and he like walk home run, walk intentionally walking somebody with the bases
Yeah.
loaded is crazy work.
Yeah, and that happened multiple
times.
He was definitely the most feared hitter in his prime. We all know what he took steroids, but he was the most feared hitter in his prime in my lifetime. There's not even a close second. Ken Griffey Jr., Aaron Judge, Otani, all these guys, but
He was.
but nobody was more feared than him.
What they was doing back then, you got to understand, it's on a whole different level. Like, I think people that watch baseball today, if they had to go back and be alive during that time period, you got to understand, like, these dudes was hitting, like, home run chases was like 6 o'clock news. We're in
the
Cleveland.
Sosa McGuire home run chase was on the news every day.
6
Every
o'clock
day.
news, major
Yeah,
news.
yeah.
It was like there's a war somewhere, and then Barry Bonds and Sosa and McGuire.
Right.
This is what we're doing.
My wife, who doesn't follow sports at all, she does a little now because of me, but before we met, she never paid attention to sports, knew about the Sosa McGuire home run chase.
Everybody was like,
Yeah, yeah.
hit another one, and you
Yeah.
just knew who you was talking about.
Yeah, right, exactly. Go ahead,
Crazy.
Anthony.
I got one last question about the Guardians injuries,
Yep.
guys. They called up David Fry when Hoskins went down. Why wouldn't you call up Khalil Watson and just have another young guy see some more MLB at bats? And if you didn't want another young guy, why wouldn't at least bring up Schneemann? He was having a better season.
at this point, whoever they're bringing up is not going to play much. So, you'd rather have a guy like Khalil Watson playing every day in the minors than, David Fry's just going to sit on the bench. He's used to the routine. Plus, Hoskins plays first base, so Fry could, in theory, play at first base.
Man, I feel sorry for these dudes. Like,
it sucks right now.
Manzardo, they be up and down. David Fry, you get bats here or there.
They could have called Manzardo back up.
Like,
I actually forgot that Manzardo was still down.
Man,
You could say it like this: every baseball season is long. This baseball season in
It's been a
Cleveland
long
is
season.
really
super long, super duper long. And I thought they had a chance.
and they're not dead yet.
I thought they had a good chance.
They're not.